Welcome to the OMG Show.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the OMG Show with your host Oscar Garcia. Today we're going to be talking about execution. So, how do we actually get started, right? Once we have clarity, what's the first thing that we need to be doing? Now, if you already have a sense of what you want to do, then, virtual high five, because you're already way ahead of the curve, right? The biggest thing that most entrepreneurs in this stage of their business face is not knowing what to do first. Once you understand kind of what business you want to go into and how you want to run it, you're not sure what should I do first. Should I build a website first? Should I do a funnel? All these other things. So I'm going to tell you what I recommend for you to do, especially if you're doing an online business. And I want you to understand that this theme applies to a lot of different circumstances, not just an online business, but for today's purposes, we're going to apply it for how you are going to approach that next step in your business building life cycle, okay? And that is start with your offer first, okay? So you need to understand that your market has a problem and that your business is there to provide a solution. So you need to have an offer, okay? And that offer needs to be substantial to the point where someone's willing to pay you for the offer that you're making, okay? That way there's an exchange of goods and services there. Okay, now once you have your offer, you then want to work your way backwards. Okay, many times I see people start with content first and they build all this content, and then there's 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line and they really haven't been able to generate an offer, but they have all this traffic, they have all this content, but zero business. They've managed to create a hobby, for lack of a better example. So what we want to do is figure out our offer first, so that way we can design content to reinforce our offer, so that way our traffic has somewhere to go, and that way we can start to begin to do business, because we need to have customers in order to understand our market better, to figure out how we should steer the business going down the road, provide better quality products, so on and so forth. It all needs to happen by the process of exchanging goods and services. Okay, so we need to have an offer first. Now, once you have the offer in, you're going to have to break that offer down all the way to free, and that's essentially how you start creating your sales funnel. Okay, so pretty much we start with our offer and then we break it down. So, many people use the example of dating and marriage, right? You're less likely to go out to a complete stranger and say, "Would you marry me?" Right? As opposed to, "Hey, would you like to go grab a cup of coffee?" Right? Two different scenarios. One has a very low likelihood of getting a yes, where the other one has a very high likelihood of getting yes. Okay, so you want to approach your business in the same sense. You can't just go and say, "Hey, I have a $3,000 program. Would you want to buy it?" Okay, now again, of course, this all depends on your market, because in some markets, $3,000 offers is the top. That's the most anyone's willing to pay. But in some markets, that's also the very low end. Okay, so it all depends on your market and where you are currently at, what the pricing is. Okay, but you have to figure out your offer first, and again, break it down to the point where you get to free. That way you can start to build the relationship. Okay, and a relationship is a series of steps. Okay, aka your sales funnel is also a series of steps going from free all the way up to your offer. Okay, now when it comes to actually applying this, what does this actually look like for you, right? So if you're listening to this and you're like, "Oscar, I get it, I start with my offer, but how does it all come together?" Well, here's how it works. Okay, what you're going to do is a very simple funnel, right? A simple funnel means you have some kind of ad source or traffic or content piece or blog or video or whatever, some piece of content, right? That piece of content is going to be going to a landing page, okay, where perhaps they're signing up in exchange for something for free, like a PDF, a video, a training, etc., etc. And then after that, you then can make an offer. Okay, that's a very 3-step process. You can even, depending again on the market and the price point, you can even cut that middle step out and just go straight from content and ad to offer, depending on the quality of the content, right? And in fact, some of my favorite ads that are going on right now in the traffic space are content-based ads, where essentially you're pretty much, posting a blog, but the blog in and of itself is an ad with a strong call to action at the end that sends people directly to a sales page. Okay, that's a 2-step sales funnel. All right, but ideally, before you start creating all this content and thinking of all these different products you want to create, you start with one offer, and then build out the steps, go from paid offer to free, and see how you're going to bridge those two gaps together. So that way your customers have the best relationship with you and your business, and therefore they'll be able to go ahead and talk to others about what you do, how you can help them, and why you're the best one for it. Okay, because at the end of the day, people only care about what you can do for them, right? And so if your product is going to help them solve a problem that they have, they need to make sure that they understand this is the best product for them. Okay, and sometimes people need a little bit more hand holding in order to make that purchase decision come through. That's where your content comes into play. Okay, so remember, you start with your offer first, and you break down that offer, and you create content around the offer so you can strengthen your call to action, so everything can start making sense and start clicking. Okay, to give you a real world example, we had a business that we were working on, and they had 3 steps that pretty much were the pillars of their business. Okay, so it was mental toughness, it was technical development, and it was fitness. I think, yeah. So mental toughness, fitness, and technical development. So those were the 3 pillars of the business. So all we did was we had an offer that combined all those 3 pillars. Okay, it was being sold at the time for around $247, and we created all this content. How to improve your mental toughness, how to get stronger doing XYZ, right? How to get more touches on the ball to improve your technical development. And slowly but surely, all that content started pushing people in to our funnel, because all the content was based around the offer. It wasn't based around the business, it was based around the offer. Okay, and that's very different. A lot of times businesses will write content to establish the business, but again, people don't necessarily care about the business, they care about what you can do for them. And most of the time, that's going to be a product that you created. So create content around the product. Okay, but you need to have the product first. And once you have the product first, you can then back up and create the content. Okay, so think of it in those terms. You should always be thinking in terms of your business. Okay, what do I need to do to make sure that I get a result? Okay, don't do things in the sense of, I feel like everyone else is doing this, so therefore I have to. That's not the way you want to go about it. In fact, doing that is going to send you down a very dark rabbit hole that many businesses don't get out of. That's why so many fail within the first 30 days. Within the first 90 days, and even within the first year. Okay, it's because they get wrapped up in that cycle. Forget that. If you have an idea of what your business needs, of what your market needs, what the problem is, create that one offer. And don't even go too crazy with it. Create something simple, especially if you're starting out. Create something that you can just test the market with, right? You may not even have to create a product. Maybe you can team up with someone else in that market that could be a future competitor to you, but maybe you can become an affiliate, advertise their product, and see what their response is, right? But you want to test the market first. And once you have an idea of what the offer is going to be, boom, now it's about creating all this content and reinforcing that offer so that people have the trust. Right? Remember, know, like, and trust factor. They need to have those 3 elements in order for them to say, you know what, boom, here's my credit card. Let's go ahead and exchange these goods and services. So now your business has some cash flow into it, so you can start growing it, bring on more resources, and provide even more solutions to more people. Okay, so that's today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the OMG Show. I'll see you on the next one.